Hello everybody, welcome to another Flaming Dice Reviews video. Today we're going to be looking at Arboretum, a card game by Z-Man Games, where players compete to build the most aesthetically pleasing arboretum by planting trees, bidding on those trees, and then scoring them. Let's take a look at what comes inside of the box, a little bit of how the game plays, and then I'll meet you back here for my final thoughts. I think one of Arboretum's strong points is its simplicity. All that comes inside of the box is the score pad that you see on the left, which helps with scoring at the end of the game, the rulebook as seen on the right, and then a deck of 80 cards as seen in the middle. So let's take a look at those 80 cards. Each tree comes with 8 cards in the set, numbered 1 through 8. And each card has the exact same artwork on it. There are 10 different trees featured in Arboretum, and they are as follows: dogwood, jacaranda, oak, olive, magnolia, lilac, willow, maple, cassia, and the final, which I'm probably going to mispronounce, is Royal Poinciana. Each player starts with a hand of 7 cards, and a player's turn is made up of 3 easy steps. A player draws 2 cards, either from one of the 4 discard piles, or from the top of the deck in the center of the play area. Now once a player has drawn those 2 cards, he or she then looks at their 9 cards total, chooses 1 to play into their arboretum, that's the second step, and then the third step is that they discard a card. Now you can draw a card from anyone's discard pile, but you can only discard into your own. So the second step was the only one we didn't see there, so it's the most important, and we're going to take a look at that right now. Now the second part of a player's turn is the play phase. If you recall, they have to draw 2, play 1, discard 1, thus maintaining a hand size of 7 at all times. So during the play phase, a player gets to play a card into their play area, or arboretum. And as you can see here, we have a 2, 3, 5, 7, all in different trees. At the end of the game, this would score absolutely nothing, because in Arboretum, a line of trees has to begin and end with the same cards. Now, these same numbers, but with an olive tree at the front and the back, would score points. And it can get a little bit more complicated than that, in that the lines of trees can go horizontally, vertically, or even in an L shape. So we'll take a look at that next. Let's take a look at an arboretum that has gotten a little bit more complicated. And it's built off of the same example that we looked at a moment ago. Now in this example, the olive trees start at 2 and end at 7. So a player would score 1, 2, 3, 4 points for olive trees. And now, building off of the same numbers, a player has a line of dogwoods as well. So 1, 2, 3 dogwoods. And starting in the middle even, a player has 1, 2 oak trees. Lastly, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 lilacs. And there's also special scoring rules that involve 8s and 1s, as seen here. So let's talk about that now. We've replaced the olive 2 with an olive 1 because 1s and 8s, as we mentioned a moment ago, have special scoring rules. If a line begins with a 1, it gets 1 extra bonus point. So for olives here, we would score 1, 2, 3, 4 points plus a 5th point for the olives having a 1 in their line. And then the lilacs ending in an 8 would get 1, 2, 3, 4 points for lilacs, plus 5, 6 points, because 8s are worth 2. Now that's a double-edged sword, because 1s and 8s serve one more purpose, and that's for the last phase of the game, which is where players essentially bid for which type of trees they get to score. And it's the most strategic part of Arboretum. There's one final extra score that I did forget to mention, and that is the 4 cards rule. So if you have a line, and again, it's really the golden rule is that only the front and back trees have to be the same. But if you have 4 or more of the same tree in one line, you do get 1 bonus point for that line. Let's take a look at the final and arguably most strategic portion of Arboretum, and probably the most important. And that is reserving cards so that you can bid on a type of tree. And the only way to score a type of tree is to win the bid. So we're back to our example where we have an olive tree line. And of course your Arboretum is going to be bigger than this by the end of the game, but this is just for simplicity. So our olive tree line starts with a 2 and ends with a 7. Now, as mentioned earlier, you get a lot more bonus points if you play a 1 or an 8, or your line ends in a 1 or 8. So why not always play that? Because of the importance of these cards. Let's say that at the end of the game I want to score these olive trees. Each tree is done this way also. Everyone shows their hand and gets to bid on olive trees essentially. So let's say one player has a 3 and a 6 olive. The other player has a 8 olive, and another player has a 1 olive. Well, the 1 actually cancels out the 8. If a player plays a 1, the value of 8 is 0. So if these were the only 2 players that bid for olives, the player who played a 1 would actually live. Or actually win, excuse me. Nobody dies in Arboretum. But in this case, where one player played a 6 and a 3, their total is 9. So they win, even if the 1 wasn't there. And this player had played the 8, this player would have 9 points, and they would score the olive trees. And again, each tree is done that way. The game of Arboretum ends when all of the cards from the center pile, from the center draw pile, are drawn, and no player can score a tree unless they win the bid. And that's what makes Arboretum such a strategic game. Welcome back, everybody. Now that we've seen how Arboretum plays and what comes inside of the box, let's talk about my final thoughts, what I think about the game as a whole. Arboretum is one of those games that surprised me. I really didn't expect much out of it. In fact, I didn't expect anything out of it. When you tell me that you have a game that's about planting trees and the cards all have the same artwork, well, to be fair, 8 different pictures of trees, and they're all numbered 1 to 8, and you score trees by building lines of trees and making them pretty, but really not. You're just focusing on the score. I wouldn't be interested. Matter of fact, I wasn't interested. When my good friend Trudy, who is the owner of the local gaming store, the Jester's Court here in Grand Junction, Colorado, she asked me to play the game. And I always say yes because Trudy very rarely leads me astray. We have very similar tastes in games. But she said, we got this new game in called Arboretum, and it's about planting trees. And I instantly just wanted to be like, and please tell me you've tried it and you hate it and you don't want me to play it, because that just sounds dull as anything I can imagine. But she didn't. She said that she really wanted to play it again. She had played it once with her family and really liked it. And I reluctantly agreed, and I was truly surprised. The game is in-depth. The artwork, though it's not very, there's not very many different pieces of artwork, with there being only 8 different trees. The artwork is still beautiful. The game is fairly easy to learn. You can learn it in 20 minutes tops. The box does recommend that it's for ages 8 and up. Again, this is another one of those games that I disagree with that. I don't think that an 8-year-old is going to be able to play this effectively. I think they'll get it. You get to put a tree down. I don't think they'll get the intricacies of scoring and the bonus points and whether or not to play a 1 or an 8. I don't think they'll get all of that. Maybe they would. Maybe it was just me as an 8-year-old who wouldn't get that. But I know I wouldn't have. And I don't think either one of my boys when they were 8 would have gotten it. Overall, Arboretum, not much to it as far as what comes in the box. It's just a deck of cards, a scoring pad, and then the rule book. And that is it. No tokens, no board, no nothing. It's literally just that. But the price reflects that. It's only $20, and you'll get, I think, many hours of play out of it. It's a delightful little game. I really enjoy building the arbors. I enjoy that stress that comes with, I hope this player doesn't take the last card out of the draw pile, because then if he doesn't, I'll get one more turn and I can score the magnolia trees. That's just a great feeling. Anytime that a game makes me stressed, I enjoy it. But I'm going on and on about a card game, but I think that really tells you a lot about it. Even though it's just a card game, it's actually a lot of fun. I ran Arboretum through the Flaming Dice Review scoring system, which judges a game based on 8 categories, and I do that to try to keep myself open-minded, try not to judge a game by just giving it one arbitrary score. I scored in 8 different categories and averaged those together. And the categories include fun, replayability, portability, accessibility. And when I ran Arboretum through the Flaming Dice Review scoring system, it got an 87 out of 100. And a lot of that was due to the accessibility and portability score. So a great little game. I highly recommend it if you want a little filler game to play in between your larger games. Arboretum, I would definitely say give it a try. If nothing else, go to your friendly local gaming store, give it a try. I think you'll be surprised like I was. And if you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe, and visit the website at www.flamingdicereviews.com, and I hope to see you again real soon. Thanks for watching.